Please rise as you are able. I now call this meeting of City Council to order.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
The City of Barrie acknowledges the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people, which include the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. We also acknowledge the Wendat Nation Huron, who occupied these lands prior to the middle of the 17th century. We're dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and recognize the enduring presence of Indigenous peoples on this land. We are committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. You may be seated. Before we move into the confirmation of the minutes, I just want to recognize that we had our comments from our outgoing student parent, Mackenzie Bentley Isaacs from Innisdale Secondary School. We moved it up to our general committee meeting, so it happened earlier this evening. And we'll now move on to the confirmation of minutes. The first item on the agenda, the minutes of the City Council meetings held on January 31st, 2024 have been circulated. Are there any corrections? Seeing none, they are printed as circulated. We have no deputations on committee reports. Madam Clerk, is that correct?
Yes, Mayor Nuttall.
No tax applications or communications, so we're going to go to the committee reports themselves. Deputy Mayor Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Negussi, that Section A of the General Committee report dated February 7th, 2024 be received.
It's moved by Deputy Mayor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Negussi, that Section A of the General Committee report dated February 7th, 2024 be received. This is with regards to 24G011, the report of the Infrastructure and Community Investment Committee dated January 24th, 2024, and it was to be received. It's also with regards to the report of the Finance and Responsible Governance Committee meeting dated January 31st, 2024, and that is to be received. Are there any questions or comments from members of Council? Seeing none, all those in favor? And it carries. Deputy Mayor.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Negussi, that Section B of the General Committee report dated February 7th, 2024 be adopted.
It's moved by Deputy Mayor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Negussi, that Section B of the General Committee report dated February 7th, 2024 be adopted. That's 24G013, the study and sustainability and future of Kempenfest. 24G014, Barrie Allendale Transit Terminal Public Art Commission. 24G015, the 2023 Q4 Internal Audit Status Report. 2023 Fraud and Wrongdoing Program Activity. 2023 Summary of Internal Audit Activity and 2024 Internal Audit Work Plan. 24G016, Heritage Property Tax Relief Program deferred 24G017, public consultation, firework restrictions in residential areas, deferred. 24G018, support for nonprofit environmental groups, deferred. 24G019, potential land disposition matter, Dunlop Street area. 24G020, confidential solicitor client privilege matter, legal opinion. 24G021, confidential potential disposition of property matter, County of Simcoe, call for proposals. 24G022, Royal Canadian Air Force recognition features. 24G023, confidential potential disposition of property matter or employment lands. 24G025, next generation 911 grant receipt and computer aided dispatch and replacement. Are there any questions or comments with regards to these motions that are on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor, it carries. That brings our committee reports to a close. I'm going to move on past deferred business into direct motions. Councillor Nixon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Kungle. A motion without notice regarding the waterfront transit shuttle pursuant to Section 7.1 of the Procedural Bylaw 2019-100. Permission be granted to introduce a motion without notice concerning waterfront transit shuttles. I believe we need 2/3.
It's moved by Councillor Nixon, seconded by Councillor Kungle. The motion without notice, waterfront transit shuttle, that pursuant to Section 7.1 of the Procedural Bylaw 2019-100, permission be granted to introduce a motion without notice concerning waterfront transit shuttles. A 2/3 majority is required. All those in favor? Carries. Councillor Nixon.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Before I read, I just want to say the reason for this direct motion is there are time limitations involved with this that require action, I believe, by the end of the month, I think. So this just kind of came up in the last week or so. So again, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Kungle, regarding waterfront transit shuttle. That 1, staff and transit and parking strategy, an economic creative development partner, and work with the Downtown Barrie BIA to support their grant submission concerning the development and implementation of a 1-year pilot waterfront shuttle transit system, with the route to include Downtown Barrie, Centennial Beach, South Shore Centre, and Allendale GO Station, to the Tourism Growth Program sponsored by the Federal Development Agency for Southern Ontario, FedDev. And number 2, that if successful in receiving funding for this initiative, staff report back to General Committee with the details of the waterfront transit shuttle system. And I can speak to that briefly. Basically, this
Sorry,
is...
before you do, Councillor Nixon.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. That's okay. Sorry, these need to be signed.
Nope.
Can we just double check the previous one as well? That's okay. We'll keep going. It's moved by Councillor Nixon, seconded by Councillor Kungle. Waterfront transit shuttle. 1, that staff and transit and parking strategy and economic creative development partner and work with the Downtown Barrie BIA to support their grant submission concerning the development and implementation of a 1-year pilot waterfront shuttle transit system, with the route to include Downtown Barrie, Centennial Beach, South Shore Centre, and Allendale GO Station, to the Tourism Growth Program sponsored by the Federal Development Agency for Southern Ontario, FedDev Canada, and that 2, if successful in receiving funding for the initiative, staff report back to General Committee with the details of the waterfront transit shuttle system. Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Yeah, basically, I guess what has happened is just in the last few weeks, the BIA became aware of some available funding through FedDev, and basically our involvement in this is just to assist them with putting the grant together and getting it submitted by the end of the month, I believe. It's a considerable amount of money that will cover all costs for a shuttle moving between the points mentioned. which will be of great assistance to people downtown over the summer, and especially during at any time, but especially during Capit Fest, where it'll allow people to park a little further out from where they have, hopefully reduce some of that, and the shuttle will save a lot of walking for people where they're going from one end of the lake shore to the other. So, any questions? No.
Any comments or questions from any other members of council? Councilor Malice?
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. I don't know if this is to Councilor Nixon or maybe to staff, so whoever can answer it. Because it's asking about like essentially moving forward with the application. There's no money asked at the moment, but are we aware if we got any money back from the last grant that they applied to? Because I know that occurred. I'm just keep finding notes. That was the notes during the last year's budget, or the last year's discussions of the budget, and we were going to, if they were going to get money back, it would have come back straight to the city. So I'm wondering, I think that might be a Mr. Miller question.
Sorry, just to jump in, was this with regards to a transit-related item for the BIA?
It was in regards to a partnership of sorts. So the reason is, depending on the answer I get on that question, that's not this transit shuttle, because you're right, that didn't happen last year. Depending on that answer, it'll either give me the confidence to vote for a subsequent one. So I want the KPI of a previous, essentially, application partnership with the BIA.
So your question is, did the BIA pay us any money back?
Correct.
I can maybe start, if that's okay, Craig, and just speak strictly to the FedDev grant. So through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Morales, there was an ask, and I believe it was 2022, related to a joint application or an ask from the city to support an application to FedDev related to items. They had originally explored gates to close the street. We had gone back as that wasn't really feasible. Instead, they were able to secure funding to make improvements. So that included the benches that are now, the insets that are now at Meridian. There's a handful of items, all priced out. The city had committed at that point to 25%, I think, which was about 35,000. FedDev covered the rest, and BIA was the remainder. They've just submitted all the receipts for that funding, and it was fully expended to this point. So there isn't anything owing from that particular project. If there are other items from other questions, that would have to go to Mr. Miller.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, a quick follow-up. When you say fully submitted and expended, do you mean, so I'm specifically alluding to the fact that one of the languages, and I found the notes, Mayor Nuttall, from the meeting, I just don't have them in my bag right now, but we were essentially giving the BIA some grant money, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, and they were then going to apply for a grant. If they were successful in securing the grant, they would then essentially give us a refund on those the monies that we essentially fronted them, and if they weren't successful in the grant, then so be it. And so I was just wondering if we knew the outcome of 2022, because while there's no specific money asked us, there's an application, and I just want to, for my own vote, feel confident that if we're going to almost do a version 2 of this, and if there is a money asked the next time it comes forward, that was fulfilled the way it happened. That's the crux of my question.
Sure. Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Morales. The way we worked the last one, it was a cost reimbursement. So we didn't front end any cash for that particular item related to that FedDev grant. So they have expended the funds, provided the receipts to us after they provided as part of their submission to FedDev to be reimbursed as well. So that was not that particular one. We didn't front end any cash. I'm not aware of one to another degree where council agreed to front end. I only worked on that particular one.
Okay, perfect. And while I have you, Ms. Schlichter, what would be, from your personal perspective, a benefit to a shuttle program like this? I'm not against it necessarily. I'm just curious as to the shuttle component. Is it a mobility issue? Are we getting like older populations or just population of children? Are we seeing a challenge in that? Is it an exposure thing? Is it a hot weather thing?
Sure. Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Morales, I think there's a couple of things that was looked at in putting the application together. A, helping move people around the area, bringing them into the downtown. Sometimes there are perceptions around parking, so if you give people space to park and bring them in, it's really eliminating barriers, and the intent is, or perceived barriers, and the intent is really to draw it in. And I think a pilot allows you to understand where do you have peak times. There are certain events that happen throughout the course of the year. So is it something that is of benefit that allows us to bring in more to those events? So I think that's the intent of the program.
Perfect. You answered it right on to what I wanted. I'll just speak very quickly to it, Mayor Nuttall. Any motion that will increase people's trust in public transportation, in addition to showing them that you don't have to park right exactly where you need to be, that's something I can get behind. So thank you for affording me the time to ask my convoluted questions.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions or comments on the matter? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And it carries. We're through direct motions. There are no presentations. We've done inquiries earlier on. We've done announcements, I think, earlier on. I'm going to jump into some on behalf of the city here. So I'd like to proclaim February 10th, 2024 to February 16th, 2024 as I Love Gymnastics Week, and February 13th, 2024 as Wear Red Canada Day. February is Black History Month, and the City of Barrie is proud to promote events and programming that will bring awareness to the significant contributions that Black Canadians have made and continue to make to the cultural landscape of our country and of our community. For more information, please visit barrie.ca/Black History Month. I'm not going to push that button again, don't worry. The City of Barrie is accepting applications from eligible local organizations for the Bright Futures Barrie Grant. Funds from this grant will support new or enhanced programming for at-risk children, youth, and young adults. Funding is available to organizations that provide services within the City of Barrie. Applications will be accepted until 4:30 on the 15th of February. Interested organizations can learn more about the grant and apply at barrie.ca/Bright Futures Grant. The deadline's been extended to apply for an appointment to the Barrie Youth Council. The city is seeking up to 12 youth representatives ages 12 to 20. This is an opportunity for today's youth to participate in their communities, contribute and educate on local issues, and learn about municipal politics. The deadline to apply is the 22nd of February at 4:30 p.m. And Councillor Harris is ready for all the applications to come in at barrie.ca/committees and task forces.
Mayor Nuttall, quick joke. Is the age limit 20? Because in Barrie, we start electing our politicians at 21.
Yeah. Well, it depends what you consider youth these days. I don't know. There will be no committee and council meetings for the next 2 weeks. The next Affordability Committee meeting is scheduled for the 27th of February, and the next General Committee meeting is on the 28th of February. Bylaws, Deputy Mayor Thompson.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Negussi. A lead be granted to introduce the following bill, and this bill be read a first, second, and third time this day and finally passed. Bill 17.
It's moved by Deputy Mayor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Negussi. The confirmation bylaw that leave be granted to introduce the following bill, and this bill be read a first, second, and third time this day and finally passed. Bill 17. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? It carries. Do I have a motion to adjourn the City Council meeting? Councillor Hamilton and Councillor Harris. All those in favor?